Why does Holy Week begin not with power, but with humility? Why does the most important moment in Christian history unfold through silence, suffering, and what appears to be defeat? And why does the Church invite us year after year, not just to remember these events, but to enter into them? There is a deep tension at the heart of Holy Week. We expect glory, yet we are given a basin and a towel. We look for triumph, yet we encounter betrayal, anguish, and the cross. But this is precisely where everything changes. Because what seems like weakness is, in reality, the very power of God at work. Holy Week is not simply a sequence of events leading to Easter. It is a single, unified mystery, the passion, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. And it begins in a way that surprises us. It begins on the night of the Last Supper. In that upper room, Jesus gathers with his apostles for what will be his final meal before his passion. This moment is rich with meaning. It is where he institutes the Eucharist, offering his body and blood under the appearance of bread and wine. But something else happens, something deeply human, deeply unexpected. He kneels. The Lord of heaven and earth takes the role of a servant and begins to wash the feet of his disciples. In the ancient world, this was a task reserved for the lowest servants. And yet, Jesus chooses it deliberately. What is he teaching? He is revealing that true greatness is found in humility. Authority in the kingdom of God is not about domination, but self-giving love. When Peter resists, Jesus tells him that unless he washes him, he has no part with him. This is not just about physical cleansing. It is about allowing Christ to serve us, to purify us, to love us in a way that overturns our expectations. And then he gives a command. As I have done for you, you also should do. If you want to grow in your understanding of the Catholic faith throughout the church year, subscribe and continue this journey with us. But here is what many people overlook. The Last Supper is not separated from what comes next. The humility of the washing of feet is directly connected to the suffering in the Garden of Gethsemane. After the meal, Jesus goes out into the night to pray. In Gethsemane, we see a different side of Christ, one that is often misunderstood. He is not distant or untouched by what is about to happen. He is in agony. He tells his disciples, "My soul is sorrowful even to death." This is not weakness. This is the fullness of his humanity. Jesus knows what awaits him: betrayal, abandonment, torture, and death. And in that moment, he prays with complete honesty, "Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me." But he does not stop there. He adds, "Not my will, but yours be done." There is something deeper happening here. Gethsemane reveals the interior battle of obedience. Jesus freely aligns his human will with the will of the Father. Where the first Adam failed in a garden, Christ remains faithful in a garden. This is the beginning of the victory, even before the cross. And yet the path forward is not removed. It leads directly into the passion. The passion of Christ is not just a story of suffering, it is the path of redemption. Every step, from his arrest to his trial, from the scourging to the carrying of the cross, is filled with meaning. He is mocked, crowned with thorns, and condemned. He carries the cross through the streets, falls under its weight, and is nailed to it. From the outside, this looks like defeat. But this changes how we see everything, because Jesus is not a victim. He is offering himself. The cross is not taken from him. He embraces it. As he says in the Gospel of John, no one takes his life from him. He lays it down of his own accord. Why does this matter? Because the cross is where sin is confronted and overcome. It is where divine love meets human brokenness. Every wound, every drop of blood is an act of love given for the salvation of the world. And then, in what seems like the end, Jesus dies. There is silence. Holy Saturday holds this silence. The tomb is sealed. The disciples are scattered. Hope seems lost. But the story is not over. On the third day, everything changes. The resurrection is not simply a return to life, it is a transformation. Jesus rises, glorified, victorious over sin and death. The tomb is empty, not because someone removed the body, but because death itself has been conquered. This is the center of the Christian faith. As St. Paul writes, "If Christ has not been raised, our faith is in vain. But he has been raised." And that changes everything. The resurrection confirms that the cross was not defeat, but victory. It reveals that love is stronger than death, that light overcomes darkness, and that God is faithful to his promises. But it is important to understand this clearly. The resurrection is not separate from the passion, it is the fulfillment of it. The suffering of Christ is not meaningless, it leads to glory. And this pattern becomes the pattern of Christian life. This is where Holy Week becomes personal. We are not just observers of these events, we are invited to enter into them. What does that look like? It means embracing humility as Christ did in washing the feet of his disciples. It means trusting God in moments of fear and uncertainty as Jesus did in Gethsemane. It means carrying our crosses with faith, united to his passion. And it means living with hope, grounded in the reality of the resurrection. This is not abstract. It touches everyday life. When you choose patience instead of anger, you are walking the path of Christ. When you serve others without recognition, you are living the lesson of the Last Supper. When you remain faithful in suffering, you are standing at the foot of the cross. And when you trust that God can bring life out of difficulty, you are living in the light of the resurrection. Holy Week teaches us that the way of Christ is not easy, but it is meaningful, and it leads somewhere. It leads to new life. So as we enter into this sacred time, the question is not simply what happened back then. The real question is this: will we allow these mysteries to shape how we live now? Because the humility of the Basin, the agony of the garden, the suffering of the cross, and the victory of the empty tomb are not just events to remember, they are a path to follow, and they lead always to life.